he has to. If I had a last name with an article of clothing in it, I'd have to wear that article of clothing all the time. If I was like Joey Shirt Co. or something, I'd wear a shirt.
Joey underwear.
I know.
Underwear on the outside.
It would be unfortunate. Oh, underwear on the outside.
You'd be like, I gotta do it.
Yes, I got it.
My name is underwear on the outside.
So Alix playing High Tide. This is a deck that I feel like I'm always like, I want to play this. I want to play this. It's got Candelabra of Taunos in it. Not trying to get Candelabra.
Every time you go to a Legacy event, you just post on Facebook like
need to borrow Candelabra.
No, you do the more passive aggressive thing. You're just like, Joey Pasco needs candelabras for the Legacy event. And, don't even ask. Just make people come to you. That's how you do it.
I'll try that.
All right. So, who do you like this matchup? I like Alix personally.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing. I mean, as far as like what I want to see win, I want to see High Tide
win.
Who do I think is going to win? See, here's the. I almost always want to go with the less common deck. So right now we're seeing so much Esper Blade that I think, all right, obviously Alix is seeing a lot of Esper Blade too. Alix says
I'm sure.
Esper Stoneblade is a force in the metagame. It is a very common deck. It just won a Grand Prix. People are playing this deck. What am I going to bring that can deal with this deck? Whatever, you know what I mean? He's consciously making the decision to show up with High Tide because he feels like he can beat a deck like Esper Stoneblade, and that's the way I look at it. So I think Alix probably favored.
Yep, and he's
just for that reason.
He is on the play. Turn 1 Island, and he has a lot of cards in play here. He can play Ponder, Preordain, he can play Candelabra.
Yeah.
All of these are possible. Now, the one card that is going to give Alix Hatfield any trouble, which is really only afterboard, is Surgical Extraction.
Yeah.
You can get those High Tides. At first High Tide, you get a Surgical. Things can get messy. But that is a while away.
Yeah. For now, Alix is pondering. We did see a Candelabra.
Did see a Candelabra, and I believe it was a Candelabra and at least one High Tide. It might have been 2 High Tides, but he might need lands. He says, nope. Try again. Different cards, thanks. Now, I used to play this deck a lot on online. Let me tell you what, it is a much easier deck to play online.
Yeah?
It keeps track of your mana for you. It doesn't keep track of your storm, but generally, by the time you actually get to a storm count, the general rule of thumb is if you need to cast Brain Freeze, it's enough. Alix draws High Tide. So he has all the tides.
Friend of mine played in the Invitational, played a High Tide with no Candelabra. Played Turnabout. He actually did very well in the Legacy portion. He fell apart a little bit in the Standard portion, especially going. He played the entire tournament. He didn't. He made day 2. Charles L. Johnson III, shout out. Yeah, he was very happy with the list without the Candelabras, and very happy with his results. So
Alix draws an island. Cast hasn't played it yet. Cast Preordain. Maybe trying to dig out a Spell Pierce, saying, uh-oh, you saw me shuffle, only got 1 land, what to do, what's going to happen? Opponent doesn't go for it. Okay, Preordain happens, he says. Draws a card, he'll play his...
you got a fetch land there?
It is fetch land.
And it goes Island.
Yep.
Ponder.
Another Ponder. Now, Alix has chosen very specifically islands.
These look like Urza's Saga islands.
I believe they are, which is both in time period for the deck.
Yeah.
You're looking at, that was the era of High Tide, was Urza's Saga. Academy and High Tide were the 2 decks from that era. But it's also, I like when players find a land that's maybe not as popular and go, this is the land I like, we're playing these. Harold has a Brainstorm in a turn. I got yelled at yesterday by someone on Twitter for mentioning AJ's article, so we will not mention it again.
Why?
But
why would you get yelled at?
Some people don't like the fact that it comes up every time someone brainstorms at a strange time.
Okay.
But
Okay, so we won't mention AJ's article. Ponder and
Brainstorm. We're not going to mention that.
Okay. AJ Soccer.
AJ Soccer, right? Who's AJ Kerrigan?
Whose birthday apparently was yesterday or today or something.
Well,
this weekend, I believe. I just gathered that from Twitter. I'm not totally sure about that. Could be wrong. He could have just went to a restaurant and they told him it was his birthday. I think
I've
that was
done
what
that
it was.
before.
You know, hey, it's AJ's
Not for myself,
birthday.
only for other people
Yeah.
who did not like the birthday songs at Fridays.
Yeah.
But I like a birthday song at Fridays, so
I like the one at Outback.
I'll tell them. Oh, Outback is pretty good.
Yeah, there's have an Aussie awesome birthday. Our birthday song is short. That's it. Love it.
Stoneforge. Now, Harold White, what can you get with this? He's got Batterskull and Jit.
Yeah, pretty much the classics.
The classics. He's going to get Batterskull here. Yeah.
After board, nothing new after board.
Sort of Feast of Famine would actually probably be the best one to get, but doesn't have it. Can't always be playing against High Tide.
Yeah.
So, this puts a clock on the table. Previous to this, Alix had unlimited time to get his combo assembled and go off, but now, not so much. Now he has to work with the fact that he's going to be dead in 5 turns if he doesn't do something. Now that is a while. 5 turns is
Five turns is a lot of time.
5 turns is a lot of time. So I'm not going to say like this is a quick thing or anything. But
so High Tide kind of, obviously they unbanned Time Spiral. That had something to do with it.
a lot to do with it, I'd say.
Alix with a Flooded Strand, and also Mental Misstep showed up around that same time. I want to say, wasn't it about last spring?
It did.
Mental Misstep now gone. High Tide seemed to disappear as well, but now it's kind of coming back.
The environment just shifted a bit to where High Tide was not as favorable. We had a lot more blue decks for a while. And decks that just were good against High Tide. So
Ponder from Harold.
Yeah, Ponder, and we saw his hand. He has at least 1 land. Kangaroo Plains, one of my favorite plains. A Jit, a Jace. So he's got plenty of gas.
Double Jace there.
This is one of the matchups where Jace is not that exciting. I mean, it is a brainstorm every turn, but
that's about as exciting as it.
It's not one where tapping 4 mana can be very dangerous.
Right. So Plains, and that is the Kangaroo Plains you were talking about.
Kangaroo Plains.
You were talking about that yesterday. For those of you who may have been watching then. All right. So Alix
up to 3 mana.
Fetches up an island. Not a surprise.
Up 3 mana. He gets to start cashing cards pretty soon. He can start baiting things like end of turn Cunning Wish. Got anything? Want to counter this? He's start threatening Turnabout to tap Herald out next turn.
Meditate.
I don't need any more turns. You have a turn.
And Alix claps for his Meditate.
I think stopping for the announcement of the trophy ceremony. But
oh, okay. See, when I cast Meditate, I clap.
Oh, okay. That must be like a New York thing.
I'm not from New York.
Not New York, sorry. It's all the same thing.
East Coast thing?
East Coast. You know where the flyover states? You're all New York.
Yeah.
Little secret, you're the Midwest?
So,
if it's east of Philly, it's all New York.
A Batterskull with a very fancy germ there.
It's a foil
Can
germ.
I look at your germ? It's,
This must be a 3D germ.
Mm-hmm. Even Alix is like, wait a second, that's not the kind of germ it's supposed to come with. Judge?
The nice thing about that is you can't actually shuffle it back in your deck.
Yeah.
Shuffling tokens back in your deck is a little awkward visually.
Yeah, for sure.
That has led to more than one game lost in the history of Magic.
You hear some cheering and clapping going on. That is the Invitational Trophy Ceremony.
Yep. Harold White, another land. Flooded Strand. Go gets
Rob Alexander's signed Underground Sea.
That's very nice. I'm slightly mesmerized with this germ token.
Yeah.
Alix might be mesmerized too. He might be far more concerned about the germ than he is about going off next turn.
Woo, look at that.
Look at that. And if you want things like that, I know that we have artists on site who do those kind of things. So whenever you come to one of these events, look at the artists, see what their wares are, and check them out.
Harold
Yep.
passes the turn.
Alix untaps. Hand full of cards. Far more cards than one man needs.
Now, Harold did take 2 turns there, right, after that.
He did
meditate.
take 2 turns.
And just confirming, we've had an issue with that, I believe.
Yes,
Not
we
on
did.
Star City,
Yes, we
but I
did.
don't think it was, what was it? It was during the GP.
It was during the GP. That was a little awkward little thing that happened. We're not going
Just
to talk about it.
Trying to make sure that
Now, what I don't think Alix has is another land.
all those cards and none of them islands.
It does not look like it's another island.
That's a
an-
merchant scroll.
It is a merchant scroll. That means might have to discard this turn. Not what you're looking to do with High Tide. You know, you meditate partially so you can get more cards. I mean, he drew 5 cards.
Yeah.
Top 5 cards, not 1 land.
And he's looking to see if he somehow forgot to put his lands into his deck.
Right, and the deck does play a lot. It plays 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18 lands. Not much, but
He doesn't need a lot, really, but
it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's kind of funny. And it just has so many ways to search up. But once your combo starts going off, you need to not be. You need not have. Nothing needs to be able to stop you. You have to really not draw lands. You have to draw spells and spell and spell and spell and spell.
Pact of Negation for Alix and Candelabra of Tawnos.
So he did another land. I didn't see that in his hand, but now he's got a Candelabra. And that pact is going to mean Harold is going to have a lot of counters to try and win next turn. Snapcaster Mage.
You mean Alix is going to have a lot of counters to try to win next turn?
No, Harold's going to have a lot of counters.
Oh,
to
going to
try and
have
stop.
to have a lot
Sorry,
of
going
counters.
to have
Sorry.
stop Alix from going off.
I misheard you. So,
First.
Snapcaster's going to brainstorm, I believe, here. Yep.
Yep. Harold's going to attack for a few points when it becomes his turn again. 4, 5, 6, 7, taking Alix 7, theoretically putting him on a 1-turn clock. But I think Alix has plans on going off next turn.
Yeah, especially with the Candelabra in play.
He's got a pack, he's got a Candelabra.
We know he's got a High Tide.
Now
At
look
least
at
we
Harold.
saw-
I think Harold got his 1 Vindicate, so Vindicate might be destroying that
The Candelabra?
Candelabra. So,
Well, if not, if he gives Alix a chance to go off here.
well, it's end of turn brainstorm. So
Okay.
Harold might try to do a little more disruption. He can get in for 7. He has at least 1 Force Will in his hand, so he is not completely out of the woods, or not completely under the woods. I think he even has Cabal Therapy in his hand. Yes, he does.
There it is, Cabal Therapy. So
Therapy.
we know, he already knows that there's a pact. He can obviously wait until it resolves before naming a card.
You can.
He should.
The question is, we can't tell what he names, but we've named High Tide. There go 2.
Oof,
There
that's
go 2.
rough.
It looks like Time Spiral,
Cunning Wish.
Cunning Wish, Pact of Negation. Hoi.
And an island there, yeah.
Yep, and no more island. So this is not looking so good. I'm gonna be real straight. This is not looking good.
No, losing the namesake of the deck.
Right, he can attack for 7 here, which I imagine should be the next play. Then he can Vindicate something. Either he can choose land or he can choose Candelabra. Depends on how he feels, I guess. And then I would, you go Candelabra here.
Yeah.
The only way then Alix wins is top decking a High Tide to cast High Tide and Time Spiral. Or so yeah, you have to sack it because you can. You have to sack 1 more card to get rid of the Time Spirals, and then ideally you can get 1 more point of damage on the board because then you only have 6 points left if you sack like the Stoneforge. But like I said, other option, you could sack the Germ, move it over next turn, and then you still have 7 damage.
Yeah,
so,
7 power, yeah.
So I'll go with that play.
I like
Assuming he
that.
doesn't have like another Snapcast or anything like that in his hand. But he's tapping too much for that to work anyway. So, yes.
Looks like Vindicate on your Candelabra
Vindicate Candelabra.
coming up here.
Sack the Germ. He goes
Oh,
Island.
Vindicate Island, okay.
He goes Island. And he does the
Flashback
Germ.
Cabal
Does the
Therapy.
Germ.
Yep.
Yep. Cabal Therapy. Time Spiral. Oh, Cunning Wish. That means if Alix can draw, if he can draw one of his remaining high tides, this turn could get very interesting.
Yes, they're all main deck.
But it's Cunning Wish.
Interesting.
Now the advantage of naming, of getting that, like, there are a few different things there that he did differently, and they might have been correct. It might have been a different line of play. Like, if you get rid of the island, he can't Cunning Wish into a snap. So that's one thing that helps you move over the token. So maybe that might could actually be right there. Though I definitely think getting Time Spiral is correct, because if he draws a high tide,
Yeah, it goes off.
there's
very well
nothing
go
he can really draw. The Cunning Wish, you can't really get anything particularly good. He moves it over.
All right, Stoneforge Mystic picks up Batterskull.
Double check the sideboard to see if there's anything that costs 1 that will bounce that, and
Doesn't have it. So Alix scoops
yep.
him up.
Yes, he does.
After a Cabal Therapy really wrecking his hand. Can't really do too much about that.
And looking at sideboards, of course, a lot of Alix's sideboard is dedicated just to 1-0s.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The wish board.
Right, a wish board, meditate, rebuild, Blue Sun Zenith, turnabout, brain freeze. What is that? Ravenous Trap.
Mm-hmm.
So those are locked in the sideboard. Besides that, he has 2 wipeaways, 2 Flusterstorms, 2 packs, and 3 Tormont scripts. So he's not going to really sideboard a whole lot this game, and he doesn't need to. I mean, this is not a deck that is big on sideboards. You know, you have some stuff against things like the pack negations could come in.
It's built to be like what it is already. It's already what it wants to be.
Right,
and
right.
It accesses the sideboard from the main deck, so it's kind of already got a live sideboard.
That's the downside of Wishes, is, you know, you have access to all these extra cards that you could get, but
you have to pay for it.
You have to pay for it. You do have to pay for it. So, you know,
I can't imagine he really changes too much, like you said.
He could bring in more packs. I don't think it's really necessary. You know, the problem with bringing in more packs is, like, what do you take out? It looks like actually he snapped his main deck and not sideboard, so that would not have worked the last game. But you know, the problem with bringing in too many packs is that when a deck has discard as well as counters, they can just discard and leave you with nothing but packs.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. Nobody likes a handful of packs.
I mean, we saw Alix end the game with Pact of Negation in hand. Didn't do very much.
Couldn't do much. Could not do anything.
On Harold's side, he's got 2 Spell Pierce. I imagine that would be those would come in. He's got a Disenchant he could bring in for Candelabras. He's got an Inquisition he could bring in. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, the 3 copies of Surgical Extraction very likely coming in.
And it's a card where if you get it very early, you can you know, with all this discard he has, you got a High Tide. You know, Alix might end up actually boarding out one of his High Tides, which seems really counterintuitive. But the thing is that you need at least 1 High Tide to actually go off the deck. Okay, you can go off with 0 High Tides, but it is hard. It is very, very, very hard. You have to have a lot of lands in play. So we might board one out so that when he casts Cunning, if he gets Surgical, he can still Cunning Wish for them.
Right.
Of course, pre-M10 rules, you could wish for cards that were exiled, or cards that were at that point they were removed from game, or in your sideboard. Well, now that Exile is actually a zone with M10, Cunning Wish only gets cards outside the game, and exiled cards are still in the game. So
yeah, they're just in the exile zone.
They're in their own zone, so that no longer works. You know, if he puts Herald on having surgicals, he might go the safe route and put one high tide in the sideboard just in case. So even a surgical can't prevent him from completely going off. Just make it much harder.
Yeah, I'd expect he would do something like that. I think he would move one of the high tides out.
Maybe put. Does he have anything? So he has Brain Freeze and one Bluestone Zenith to win. He doesn't have anything main deck. He actually has to use his sideboard to kill his opponent. So it's possible he'll also bring in one card that would like bring in like a Brain Freeze, for instance. That way, even even if his Cunning Wishes get surgical extracted,
right,
he can still win the game. You know, but you know that's kind of like a lot of like very next level stuff. He has to know that Herald is going to bring in surgicals first of all, and Herald has to know that if he takes away Alix's Cunning Wishes, he actually can't win the game.
Right.
For that to happen. Now, I don't know if that's a lot of some sort of assumptions to make. So who knows whether that'll happen or not. So players discussing some more, shuffling up. A lot of people on the Twitter, they don't like combo, but you know I like watching combo, especially High Tide. It is a very skill-intensive combo deck, and I think that it plays out much more interestingly. And honestly, as somebody who enjoys these kind of things, there's a little more randomness to it because sometimes you just don't draw well off your time spiral. I kind of enjoy that. I think that requires a lot more thinking, and to me it's more fun than a deck where once you start going off, it's just guaranteed. I like having a little luck in my game. It's a lot of fun. So here we go. Starting off game 2, Alix Hatfield on the play. Turn 1, Island and Ponder. And I see an Island. It looks like another Ponder and Time Spiral. So, is that correct? He looks like he's keeping, putting on top. Oh, no, he is shuffling. Shuffles his deck. Presents. No. Still shuffling. Presents, cuts, and let's see what he gets off the top. Could not quite tell what that was. Herald draws his first turn. And he's going to go with... I see an Underground Sea. Looks like Underground Sea, maybe a Cabal Therapy. Does he have an Inquisition in his hand too, or just Cabal Therapy? Can you tell?
Couldn't tell. Let me see. All right. See, Brains. I think there is. Wait.
There's a Brainstorm. There's definitely a Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, he had really good luck with the Cabal Therapy his last game. So.
He did. He doesn't have to play it yet. I mean, High Tide is a deck that on the very outside can go up on 3, but it's usually 4. So there's no reason to rush into it and try to go off on turn 1, or try to stop him on turn 1 when you can really wait a turn or two before you get too crazy with it.
All right, Brainstorm from Herald at the end of Alix's turn, presumably.
Yeah, I believe it was.
And see, well, couldn't quite see what he put back. I believe a Lingering Souls may have been in there, but
not the card you want too early in this matchup. You want to really decimate your opponent's hand first, and then get win conditions.
He draws Tundra. I think he's got a Batterskull in his hand, which is odd that he didn't put that back, but maybe I just am not seeing it.
Yeah, that could be.
Correctly, yeah. And there's a Cabal Therapy. All right. Is that an F&M Cabal Therapy, I think?
I think it's a pack foil.
A what?
A pack foil.
It looks like New Frame. That's why I'm...
oh, it does.
I think that's an F&M Cabal Therapy, or some sort of special Cabal
Therapy. No, maybe it's... I think it was in the Reanimator deck.
Could be that.
F&M has big F&M on it.
Yeah, I couldn't see the F&M part.
Alix has...
Turnabout? Time Spiral, Brainstorm, Island, Force of Will, Polluted Delta. That is Turnabout, right?
That is Turnabout.
I always look for that like kid in the artwork, but the kid is kind of hidden
there. The kid
there.
is being covered in a time spiral.
Oh, yeah.
In a giant vortex of death, there is a child tapping all your lands. So whatever he named did not hit. Probably named High Tide.
A lot of children in the artwork in Urza Block.
Yeah, it's
because it happened at the Tolarian Academy.
It did.
A lot of
Tolarian Academy was
students.
Much like Xavier's.
Yeah.
Yep. Named High Tide. Much like Xavier's School for Gifted Children, it was Urza's school for gifted children who play Magic and not children who have mutant powers. That was the full name.
You got a long name.
Yeah, they
shortened it at some
Urza
point.
did not like mutant powers. That was just not his thing. He got tired of it, so he stuck it in his name.
All right, Harold cracks a fetch land.
3 mana. Now here, if he has Lingering Souls, he actually can play it and just flashback a Cabal Therapy.
And that looks like it could be the plan here. Here we go, Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls resolve. Alix says, Lingering Souls resolve.
He says, here's 2 tokens. I think I'll only need 1.
Yeah.
We presume. He might, with Alix's hand, yeah. It was going to be hard for Alix to go off that turn anyway, so he could have waited theoretically. But you don't want to risk it.
So Alix here brainstorming in response to the flashback Cabal Therapy.
He wants to hide some cards.
Yeah, for sure.
He wants to draw these cards later. He doesn't want to draw them right now.
Now this is one of the fun interactions when we were talking earlier, I think, about like those times when you do something, you leave something good on top, where Alix is like, he knows it's in my hand. So,
I'm going to leave Time Spiral in there. I think he's going to name Time Spiral. I'm just going to leave it in there.
Right, so he changes his mind. It's like a Princess Bride all over again.
Yeah, I'm going to leave the second best card. I'm going to leave the best card in my hand, put the second best on top. And he's going to be like, oh, I was going to name blank. And they're like, aha. Leaves like a High Tide in his hand because he's like, oh, he named High Tide the first time. He's not going to name it the second time. Meanwhile, Harold White is just like, I just don't want to see a High Tide. Let's see, that was in the Brainstorm.
Yeah.
But it was in the Brainstorm. I left it on top. Well, I know.
And we see he did keep a Time Spiral.
He did keep Time Spiral.
So Force of Will, Turnabout, land.
Yep.
Yeah, I've done that where I had 2 Stoneforge Mystics in my hand on the first Cabal Therapy, naming like something, I don't remember. And then he flashes it back, and I go, all right, Brainstorm, and I draw into a Stoneforge Mystic, and I kept all 3 in my hand. I put the 3rd one in my hand, and he goes, well, I was going to name Stoneforge Mystic. I guess I'll name something else, and I'm just like, nope, 3 Stoneforge Mystics.
That's greedy.
Yeah, it was for fun. It was a fun game, and I was like, yeah, this is...
You were just looking for revenge. You weren't looking to win. Alix plays a land of passes. Harold White. He plays another Tundra, so he has 200 grounds, 2 Tundras, tax for 1, and Alix will win 19. He did draw Surgical.
He did. His hand is in the shadows there. We're having a little bit of trouble seeing, but I did see Surgical Extraction.
Like, he can Surgical Time Spiral.
And then Snapcaster if he wants.
Does he have Snapcaster?
He has a Snapcaster in his hand, so he can surgically wreck Alix's deck.
He says, I imagine he's going after Time Spiral here. It's not a deck that... It does not prevent Alix from going off. But it makes it much harder.
Yeah.
Drawing 7 cards is good. But Alix Hatfield, Force of Wills, return him out, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
And White, though,
Snapcaster Mage.
Says, do you have another one?
I'm gonna flashback Surgical Extraction.
Alix Hatfield suddenly getting dismantled here.
Yeah.
And he had another in his hand.
Yeah, because he hid one with that Brainstorm.
He did. He hid on the Brainstorm.
There go the Time Spirals, and wow, Harold with all the answers for Alix's High Tide deck.
It's getting harder and harder for him to go off now. I mean, he needs really what Alix needs right now is like a Meditate. He needs some way to just en masse regain card advantage. Depending on how he boarded, which I can't tell, he basically will just at some point, need to meditate. Have a turn where he can probably cast 2 Meditates and try and probably brain freeze out Harold is now a better option than trying to actually Blue Sun Zenith him. He's going to real time getting the mana for Blue Sun Zenith, though he could Blue Sun Zenith himself and use turnabouts to try and
get a lot of
But I mean, this is not a soon time. Like this is like 5, 6, 7 turns down the road.
When he's pretty much dead, yeah.
Right, when he's very close to dead. Like it's just so hard to come back from having your whole hand stripped in this deck and not have access to Time Spiral.
Losing Time Spiral. So Herald flashed back the Lingering Souls, and Alix now shuffling off of a Ponder.
5 power in play, so Alix only has 4 more turns. Maybe less if Herald has any other pressure.
It's 4 turns, including the one he's taking right now. So, Brainstorm. Just trying to dig.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he can do is look for some way to fill up his hand and have the critical mass needed to try and brain freeze out Herald White. That seems like the correct line of play right here.
Merchant Scroll. Resolves. Get a Meditate.
Yep, there's the Meditate. It's Alix does not have a lot of time left on this Earth.
And
at least in this plane. In the plane of Dominaria, his time is limited. Meditate gives him 4 cards for the cost of 2 turns, basically. So this is it's kind of a risky play.
Yeah.
He basically takes 5, goes to 13.
And
on his next turn, he's got to take 5 more.
That Meditate's going to cost him like 10 life.
Right. 5 more goes to 8. Meditate, draw some more cards. Theoretically is at 3 if he tries to go off. Intuition, imagine for 3 Cabal Therapies. Or Cabal Therapy XX. Perhaps Cabal Therapy, Lingering Souls. That will strip Meditate.
All right, Alix fetching in response.
Fluster Swarm counters that.
Another commander card. Like Scavenging Ooze, only available in the commander precons.
Or Fluster Swarm actually also available as a Judge Foil.
That's right, Judge Foil. Judge Foils you can't purchase at Target though.
You cannot. Yet.
Yeah. Judge Foil Target exclusive. Alright, so Brainstorm from Herald.
Yep. And he plays Pluto Delta. So Alix Hatfield on the next turn will go down to 7, it looks like now.
Yeah.
He has 2 lines of play. Either he decides he meditates. Ooh, he's
got a high tide.
He's going for it. He's looked at his chances as my best odds here are to just go all out right now. I'm gonna high tide now. Tap 2. Cast a Meditate. And just hope you get enough. I mean, the other option was that he uses Meditate to give his opponent's turn, try to get enough out of that, but
Herald's going to Brainstorm and try to see if he can find a Force of Will.
And so, Alix, there's no guarantee that he's going to be able to go off with this. None.
Herald's even trying to decide, looks like he's counting some things up, trying to decide whether he even wants to do that. So, yes, there is the Brainstorm. Do I see Force of Will? I don't see Force of Will, and neither does Herald.
Force of Will there. So
that is one of the good things about all that orange and red in the artwork. It's very obvious when we know
it's a very distinctive card
if he draws a Force of Will. So
looking at it now, so Storm count is 2, Storm count is 3, and Alix has 1 blue floating.
Yep. Here's a meditate for Alix. So.
And with this meditate, it's pretty much giving Herald the game if he has to pass it back. Herald gets attacked for 5 right there, taking him to 2. And any creature with at least 1 power, and we know that. Herald,
look at that,
yeah.
Alix, he's island, fetch, and knows that's not what he's looking for.
Sometimes you meditate in the 4 lands.
Yeah, that was just rough.
I was all excited. I was going to start counting Storm. I was going to start trying to work out how Alix is going to win this, and
whiff on the meditate.
Whoosh.
Yeah.